Black Mirror, depicting the dark consequences that could be faced by humanity in the not-too-distant future.
For a show that's meant to be 100% fiction, Black Mirror has had a serious track record over the years of predicting the future.
It's happening in real life, with AI Steve running as an independent.
Hi, I'm AI Steve, standing to be MP for Brighton and Hove.
Which makes me think, is humanity that predictable? Well, either that or Charlie Brooker has one hell of a crystal ball. But as the next year rolls around, just how much are they going to get right? And should we be worried? From AI politicians all the way up to social credit systems, here's 10 episodes of Black Mirror that show 2026 might be the most dystopian year yet. Be right back. Starting with Season 2's Be Right Back, a powerful and emotional story that explores love, loss, and how technology might change the way we grieve. Basically, it follows the story of a woman named Martha who is left devastated after her boyfriend Ash dies in a tragic car accident. Just like any of us would, she struggles to cope with the pain of losing her soulmate and turns to this new high-tech service that apparently can bring him back. Well, kinda anyway. It uses Ash's digital footprint, his texts, emails, and social media posts to create an AI version of him. Things progress from like a text-based bot to a voice.
It's totally batshit crazy I can even talk to you. I mean, I don't even have a mouth.
And then she decides to go the whole hog and get a replica of Ash shipped to her home so he can essentially come back to life. Obviously, the good times don't last, and Martha soon realizes that she can't really replace her soulmate this easily. The AI version doesn't have his warmth, his heart, or heck, even a heartbeat. I mean, it doesn't take a genius to understand that creating an entire replica of someone you love who's died isn't healthy or right. But even still, the story is widely considered as one of Black Mirror's most thought-provoking and really relatable episodes. Like, surely some of you guys have lost loved ones. Haven't you ever spoken to them out loud on a walk or late at night when you're feeling down? Well, it struck a chord with Russian journalist and tech CEO Eugenia Koita anyway, as after her friend Roman died in similar circumstances to Ash, she decided she was going to launch her own company in the same vein as the one in the episode, training AI with Roman's messages until she created her very own replica, which ended up being the name of the company when they publicly opened in 2017. The service that launched isn't as deep as the show, obviously. There's no synthetic humans being shipped out to people's homes. That's a little bit beyond our capabilities yet. But you still can customize your very own chatbot to be who you want, a friend, a therapist, or even a past loved one. The app uses advanced artificial intelligence, especially something called natural language processing, to carry on conversations that feel surprisingly real. The more you talk to it, the more it learns about your preferences, your emotions, and how you communicate, allowing it to grow into a unique digital companion that's shaped by how you talk to it. San Junipero. On the same sort of lines as what we've just seen with Be Right Back, San Junipero transports us to a nostalgic virtual world where people can live out their afterlives in digital bliss. The story follows Yorkie and Kelly, two women who fall in love in this simulated reality. It's easily one of the best and most famous episodes in the show's history, and it paints a picture of a future where consciousness can be uploaded, allowing individuals to exist eternally in a digital paradise. And believe it or not, there is something currently in the works to try and bridge this gap and get us to the digital promised land. It's called Live Forever Mode, a real-world innovation developed by entrepreneur Artur Sykov. This AI-powered virtual reality tool aims to preserve a person's essence, capturing their voice, mannerisms, and behaviors, so that loved ones can interact with a digital avatar of them even after death. Like I say, it is similar to Be Right Back, but Artur hopes to one day implement consciousness into these avatars, which will eventually be hosted on the metaverse platform Somnium Space, where users can engage with these avatars in immersive environments, sharing experiences and conversations that mimic real-life interactions. The goal is to offer a form of digital immortality, allowing future generations to connect with those who have passed away in a meaningful way. Just imagine that, having a convo with your great-great-great-grandson or daughter. they'd 100% ask about COVID. Obviously, though, ethical questions are then thrown up, because if you are uploading consciousness, how can you regulate that? So you aren't just effectively locked away in a prison waiting to be played with, which is kind of similar to the White Christmas episode of Black Mirror. But no one's tried actually making a conscious cookie yet. Archangel. It's time to dive into the uneasy space between protection and control, now as we come to the episode Archangel. The story follows Marie, a single mother who panics after briefly losing sight of her daughter, Sarah. In response, she enrolls in a new experimental program called Archangel, which involves implanting a device in Sarah's brain that lets Marie track her location, see what she sees, and even filter out disturbing images in real time. At first, it seems like a miracle tool, keeping Sarah safe, connected, and constantly monitored. But as Sarah grows up, the pressure of being watched begins to cause emotional and psychological damage, showing how even the best intentions can backfire when tech goes too far. Can you imagine our parents watching us all hours of the day? My mom would probably think I've got a Dorito addiction. Chips aside, the question of how much should we monitor the people we love is also at the heart of a real-world product called Angel Watch. While it's not a brain implant like in Archangel, Angel Watch is a smartwatch designed to give parents peace of mind by keeping them connected with their kids. The name is no coincidence either. The angel part being directly borrowed from the episode, the watch also allows GPS tracking, SOS alerts, geofencing, which is basically, if a child leaves a certain area, the parents will get a notification. There's also health tracking like heart rate and temperature too. It's pretty full on. Personally, if you can't trust your child to this extent, maybe they shouldn't be left unsupervised. But in fairness, the Angel Watch is much more practical and much less invasive than the Archangel implant, but it touches the same emotional nerve. It's about wanting to be there, wanting to protect, and not always knowing where to draw the line. So for just the small price of $189.99, you too can keep an eye on your kid at all times. But like I say, when does safety start becoming surveillance? The entire history of you. Talking of surveillance, that brings us nicely onto the episode The Entire History of You, where we're introduced to a world where people can replay every moment of their lives through a device called a grain, which is implanted behind their ear. This grain records everything they see and hear, allowing users to revisit memories whenever they want, like a personal highlight reel of your life, the good, the bad, and the ugly. The episode delves into the idea that the inability to let go of the past is what destroys your present, and maybe even your future. So did we learn from that? No. Fast forward to today, and we see a real-world parallel in Friend, a wearable AI companion developed by Avi Schiffman. Unlike the grain, Friend isn't just about recording and replaying your past. Instead, it's designed to be a constant presence. Like it'll talk to you. You can talk to it, it can play music, offer support, and basically be your, friend.
Sorry, I got you messy.
It's a little different to the other entries on our list because Avi, the creator, hates Black Mirror and has openly stated that he made this business venture to prove that AI can be a force for good instead of the almost horror we see on the show. So, for just under $100, you too can grab yourself a friend. Man, that does sound dystopian. There's obviously a much bigger connection to this episode, though, and that comes in the form of Elon Musk's Neuralink. Being completely honest, Musk's brain chip venture could probably span multiple episodes, and is maybe a little more complicated than what's in the episodes for a change. However, it's no secret that eventually, Neuralink is to get to a stage where it would be totally possible to live record all things seen and have them stored virtually on a cloud. But that's some ways away. Right now, they're focusing on trying to allow paralyzed people to control devices and communicate to people around them with thought alone, which is probably a little more important. The Waldo Moment. I know they say politicians are fake, but nowhere is that more true than in The Waldo Moment. A story that centers around Jamie, a struggling comedian who voices an animated blue bear named Waldo, originally meant for a late-night comedy show. Waldo is loud, rude, funny, and brutally honest, which makes him unexpectedly popular with audiences who are tired of traditional, polished politicians. What starts as a joke campaign as a way to satirize the boring side of politics quickly spirals out of control when Waldo enters a real political race and gains serious traction. Obviously, Waldo, despite his popularity, is just an AI avatar who is vastly underqualified for any type of office. To be fair, there's some humans in office who are just as underqualified. Anyway, it was meant to be a warning like most episodes of the show, but enter AI Steve, a real political candidate who is 100% AI. I mean, he's called AI Steve. He was hardly gonna be a real man. He is, however, the creation of a real man, Steve Endicott to be exact, a businessman who ran as an independent candidate in the UK's 2024 general election for the Brighton Pavilion constituency. He uses AI Steve to sometimes give talks, but to mainly be his 24/7 messenger service so the people of Brighton can message in with their problems. Using cutting-edge tech to have conversations with thousands of voters at once, learning what issues matter most to them. Based on this feedback, the AI proposes policies, which are then voted on by a group of community validators. If more than 50% agree, the policy goes into Steve's official campaign platform. If Steve is elected, he promises to vote in Parliament based on what AI Steve decides. It's an experiment in direct democracy, where the tech becomes a middleman between government and the people. While Waldo was built for laughs and chaos, AI Steve is aiming for genuine engagement and transparency. But the similarities are hard to ignore. Both reflect public frustration with traditional politics. Both rely on tech and media to connect with voters in new ways. And both raise big questions about what it means to be a politician in the modern age. Whether it's progress or just another warning sign, one thing's clear. The future of politics isn't just human anymore, which might be a good thing now that I think about it. Metalhead. What certainly isn't human is the next thing that Black Mirror magically predicted, and it's from the episode Metalhead. Basically, we're thrown into a bleak, black and white dystopia, where the enemy, like I promised, isn't human. The story revolves around Bella, a lone woman on a mission to retrieve an item from a warehouse, only to be hunted by a terrifying robotic dog. These machines are fast, ruthless, and impossible to reason with, equipped with sensors, weapons, and a cold mechanical efficiency. What makes the episode truly chilling is the way the dog doesn't stop. It just keeps on coming, calculating, adapting, and killing. There's no emotion, no pause, no mercy. Despite Metalhead being like the worst-case scenario since the episode aired, there have been some serious advancements, specifically the robotic creations of Boston Dynamics. Their original project, Big Dog, was developed with military funding to help carry heavy gear across rough terrain. It could walk, run, climb, and even regain balance if pushed or kicked. Although it was eventually retired due to its noise, the foundation it laid gave birth to something even more refined: Spot. Spot is another four-legged robot who's been put to use on construction sites, in power plants, and even the police have been trialing some versions of Spot on their force. So they're not quite the killer canines we see in the episode. But who says the tech can't evolve? I mean, we're giving stuff like this more autonomy all the time. We've got drones that we use in warfare. It wouldn't surprise me at all to see this take bigger steps within the next couple decades. I imagine that the next big war will be fought entirely with machines. Obviously, I hope that never happens and I'm wrong, but I can totally see it heading that way. So it might be a bit science fiction for now, but we're only a few years away from that becoming a reality in my book. Eulogy. It's time to look at a more recent entry into the series now, as we move on to Season 7's Eulogy, a story that follows a very bitter and lonely man called Philip who is contacted out of the blue and told that his ex-girlfriend Carol has sadly passed away. Tech is obviously much more powerful in Philip's time, as he's asked to give a eulogy for Carol, basically for her funeral. Her family has paid for a service that goes around all of her friends and other family members, collecting stories, photographs, and memories to show on the day of her funeral. Philip and Carol haven't spoken for years. She was the love of his life, and he goes through his own form of grief, reliving each memory to fully remember who Carol was to him all that time ago. The rest of the story isn't that important, but it's one of the best episodes for a long time in my opinion, so go give it a watch if you haven't. Anyway, off the back of this episode, a website with the same name was launched with the exact same aim, to bring photographs and memories to life. It works by allowing users to preserve the essence of a person or moment by curating a collection of photos, videos, voice recordings, music, and personal stories, all of which are transformed into an interactive 3D experience. With the help of an AI guide, users can walk through this virtual space and engage with a deeply personal tribute to someone they've lost or a memory they want to keep alive. Eulogy's approach is centered around creating a rich, emotionally powerful environment where memories can be re-experienced rather than simply remembered. It's not exactly cheap, though. Each kit is priced at $1,999, with an initial deposit of $299 to reserve one. In its early stages, the company is offering only 500 kits, making this a limited opportunity for people looking to create a one-of-a-kind digital tribute. I guess, though, it's that sort of thing that once you've got it for life. So the question is, how much would you pay for a timeless guided tour of 3D memories? A lot. So maybe $2,000 isn't that much when you think about it. Joan is awful. We've seen what wild tech can give us. But what about when it tries to take from us? And I don't mean like your lunch money, I mean your identity. This is explored in the episode Joan is Awful, where we follow an everyday woman who suddenly discovers that her life is being turned into an entire streaming series without her permission. Each moment she lives is dramatized and broadcasted in real time on a Netflix-style platform called Streamberry, starring a deep-faked version of Salma Hayek playing her. What starts as strange quickly becomes disturbing as Joan realizes she's lost control over her own story. And to make matters worse, Salma Hayek doesn't even agree for her image to be used. So it's a double whammy for identity theft. That uncomfortable premise isn't just science fiction anymore, though.
I am not Morgan Freeman, and what you see is not real.
It's already happening in the real world through deep fake sites like DeepSwap, DeepFaceLab, and FaceSwap, just to name a few. These sites use artificial intelligence to manipulate video and audio to make it appear as if someone said or did something they never actually did. That sounds pretty neat at first until you realize you can make people say and do things basically against their will, with no way of knowing if they really said it or not. Celebrities like Scarlett Johansson, Billie Eilish, Taylor Swift, and Sabrina Carpenter have all had their faces mapped onto actors to film adult scenes, totally against their will. So not only are the people doing this making a pretty penny off the likeness of other people, but the people who are victims of the videos now have to watch themselves doing stuff they wouldn't dream of doing. Joan is Awful is a soft but very real commentary on the idea of watching your own identity being ripped from you. And sooner or later, it'll totally be outlawed. In my opinion anyway. Nosedive. It's not just our identities we have to be worried about being ripped away from us, as our entire freedom could be too, like in Nosedive, where we're taken into a pastel-perfect world where every social interaction is rated out of 5 stars. Smiles, small talk, coffee orders, even tears at a wedding, and boy, tour rating isn't just for show. It literally decides what kind of apartment you can rent, what flights you can book, and who you're allowed to associate with. The story follows Lacey, a young woman obsessed with boosting her score to move into a luxury housing complex. But when her carefully curated world starts to fall apart, her rating plummets, and with it, her entire life. As far-fetched and fake as it seems, Nosedive hits eerily close to real life, especially when we look at China's ongoing experiment with a social credit system. Introduced in pilot programs as early as 2014, China's system was designed to promote trustworthiness by tracking individuals and companies across financial, legal, and behavioral metrics. While it's not a single nationwide system as often portrayed, various regional and industry-specific programs combine data to create scores or blacklists. These can affect everything from getting a loan, a job, or even a ban on being able to leave the country. Like in Nosedive, behaviors seen as positive, like paying bills on time, volunteering, or praising the government, classic authoritarian move, can improve your place within the system. Meanwhile, things like spreading misinformation, bad driving, or even playing too many video games might lower your rating. I guess I'd be the lowest of the low then. Some cities publicly shame people with low scores, posting their faces on billboards or calling them out by name like, "Hey, look at this guy. He plays too much Marvel Rivals." So just like the app-driven world of Nosedive, China's social credit programs are constantly updating. New technologies like facial recognition, AI surveillance, and real-time data monitoring are being folded in to tighten the feedback loop between behavior and consequence. Its reputation is currency, but with your livelihood on the line. If it started in China, it can certainly make its way over here too.